Hello, Big Brother fans. Let's get to it. Well, first off, they immediately start and break off boys versus girls, which is something I predicted would happen fairly quickly, especially for Janelle. Since both of those two were pretty much played by guys in their season, um, it would probably be the right thing for them to steer clear of them. And that was smart of them, I think, so far. It was interesting that they've changed, well, with the new coaches coming into play. I'm wondering if this is going to be a forever thing or just a season kind of thing. Um, it will be interesting to see. The HOH room with the coach also getting a room, but it being part of a suite and there being no room door to close between the two, which is kind of weird, but yet not. Because you can always use the excuse of being in your room to stop gameplay if that's what you're worried about. If you're the coach and you don't have as good a handle on your team as you fear, then that room situation will come in quite handy to stop game playing in the HOH room. Very, very interesting thing that they are testing out this year. Willie and Frank making the deal with one another was quite interesting, seeing as I knew ahead of time that he was the one that was going to be nominated. So I'm going, okay, how is this gonna happen? How is this gonna work out? How is it gonna play out? Well, the Willie telling Frank that they'll keep each other, or they'll keep each other safe, and then turning around and nominating him could be played in a certain way where he says, "Listen, we can. I did it because." Boogie well, see, that's how you can't. I'm sorry, I got thrown off my game because somebody walked past and tried to interrupt me. Um, he doesn't know that Boogie had the conversation with Frank at knowing that he regarded himself as being safe, 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. So, that would have been a cool thing to be able to play off and say, listen, you're safe, so I decided to nominate you to keep, other people who aren't as safe, in the game out there. But I've got your back, so he's going to have to do a lot of gameplay this week, a lot of gameplay this week if he's going to try to keep up his deal that he made with Frank. Ian, what a freak of nature. I'm just saying, I don't know. If I was in there, he'd have to go. It was very, very smart that Boogie decided to save him because, he is his team member. He has to try to keep his players in the game as long as humanly possible. The thing is that you can only keep a person safe for so long. And this kid is a little off his game. I'm just saying. If I were in there, I'd have to get rid of him by hook or by crook. Yeah, he's a little insane. I enjoyed it that the coaches are being kept on their game by being allowed to keep to have competitions within themselves, or with themselves, amongst themselves. There. The battle for a new power where the winner grants safety for one of their players for a week, and I've already spoken to you about Ian being safe. Boogie won the competition, keeping Ian safe. Smart move because the kid would totally be out there. It seems like nobody is understanding him or caring for him at this point, and it would have been a very simple alley-oop. Really, really simple. I like that, that at that point they are also, it says that, I thought it was my understanding that the winner of the of the competition was going to be allowed to determine who the have-nots were. So I was thinking, you know, since Boogie won the competition, that he was going to be able to say, I want all of Janelle's, you know, people to be in have-nots. I thought that was my understanding. So when they, at the end of the competition, when they all had to stand there and choose who was to go to become a have-not, but they had to choose amongst their own people. This is where it's going to get very challenging, I think. But let me try to remember to go back to that point. The coaches competition was a horse race competition where they were put on a very slippery raceway with detergent, and they started at different parts of the racetrack, and you had to rush up behind the person ahead of you and grab their tail to win. And by draw, it was Boogie versus Brittany, and Boogie won that one. And then Dan versus Janelle, and Dan says he knew he had to throw that competition to try to allow Janelle to get her revenge on Boogie just a little. Well, it didn't happen that way. I can't believe that she wasn't able to win that one. So Boogie won that competition, and he chose Ian to be safe. So each person was allowed to choose a have-not, and Brittany chose Shane, Dan chose Danielle, Janelle chose Ashley, and Boogie chose Ian. And the only one that I could understand was the Ian one, because he was already safe for the week. Why not make him suffer just a tad? The others I don't quite understand, but then a lot of that has to do with the fact that I haven't been on the boards. I haven't had the time to read what is going on with that. And darn it, there was something I wanted to go back to, and I can't remember what it was that I wanted to go back to. So I'm going to have to listen to this and find out what it was. Crap, that irks me. It was about the coaches competition. Oh crap. Okay. Anyway, Willie really wanted to put Ian up, but since that was taken from his hands, you know, he just wasn't quite sure what to do at that point. And so they decided to start looking at it at a strategic viewpoint, and they all came to the realization that Dan didn't want Kara to go home, and Boogie doesn't want Frank to go home as their strongest players. So it made good sense to nominate both of those two, and so by putting them up against one another, it means either one or the other is going to go home. If I had to take a rough guess, I'm going to guess that Kara's going to go home and Dan's going to be down 2 players, because I'm sure that Boogie's going to run around trying to guarantee his guy a vote, you know, and keeping him in the game just a little longer to keep his team with strength in the numbers and being able to get back at Janelle, because, you know, at the very end he realized that they've got some kind of team to, you know, getting their teams together. Willie came to the real quick realization that because of that, his deal with Frank was going to bite him in the ass. And so when he nominated him, his reasons for Kara was just, you know, we haven't talked at all in this game, and I'm guessing that just a few days into the game, a lot of them haven't talked to one another, so that was kind of weird. I'm gonna guess at this point that Willie is he's not very good at lying, so he hasn't gotten very many tips from his brother as he'd like to think he has. Because his reasoning was just plain weird for Frank. I mean, it just made absolutely no sense. You know, we had a good thing going, and then we kind of grew apart, and then, what? What? Whatever. What about Chef Joe using up all the food? And why haven't they confronted him about that? Why haven't they told him, listen, this is our food store for 1 week. You know, you need to stop making these grandiose deals just because you think you're a chef, or because you're a chef and you want to, you know, try to cook your way into our hearts or whatever's. You know, they need to set him straight. I mean, you know, once they start getting uncomfortable and they ain't gonna have any food in the house for the last 2 days, it's gonna get kind of crazy up in there. Anyway, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna probably do a second one to go back to that train of thought that I stupidly put off. Alright, I'll see you guys next episode. I'm also gonna come back with some spoilers, so I'm back. Bye.